It is now time for my top 5 offensive lines in the NFL. I'm not going to do individual offensive linemen because that's too hard, and there's not enough stats out there, and it's too much work to narrow it down and to just a couple offensive lines. I'm going to do offensive lines by teams because usually, for the most part, um, good offensive lines have the best offensive linemen anyway, for the exception of a couple guys who um, could be a great offensive lineman on a team that doesn't have a good offensive line. But let's get this list underway. At number 5, I have the Green Bay Packers offensive line. The Packers have a pretty good line. They have injuries here and there, which probably keeps them um, from being one of the best in the league. But for the most part, even when they have injuries, they have guys that step up and play well. They do a pretty good job protecting Aaron Rodgers, and I think they deserve to be called the top 5 offensive line in the league. I think if they can be great and be consistent, they can move up. At number 4, the Atlanta Falcons offensive line. Falcons are just coming off a Super Bowl run. They wouldn't be able to do that if it wasn't for their offensive line. Doing my research, it didn't surprise me that they had that good of an offensive line, but I didn't know that they were like one of the best this year. They play great. If they keep doing what they're doing, they're gonna go to possibly more Super Bowls and possibly move up higher on this list. At number 3, we have the Oakland Raiders offensive line. The Oakland Raiders have done a lot to protect their franchise quarterback and Derek Carr. They've done a lot to make their offensive line good by bringing in veterans, filling it in with young guys, and it's paid off. I think eventually they can move up on the list, and they will. They do a pretty good job, for the exception of that one game where they let Derek Carr break his leg. But anyway, at number 2, I have the Tennessee Titans offensive line. If you look at all the teams I mentioned so far, they're all playoff teams. Tennessee Titans are teams that are not a playoff. That's not a playoff team, and that's kind of weird because usually playoff teams are the ones who have good offensive lines. Titans aren't a playoff team, but they still have a great offensive line. As this team gets better, so will their offensive line. This offensive line can be one of the best in football as they protect their young franchise quarterback in Marcus Mariota. And the number 1 offensive line in the league right now, it's obvious. It's the Dallas Cowboys. Without this offensive line, Dak and Zeke aren't who they are at this moment. They have done a lot. They have been the best for the last couple of years. Some people at times have found the Cowboys crazy for drafting a bunch of offensive linemen, but look, it's paid off. And it's, helping them. They're, for the most part, every once in a while they'll make the playoffs, and they're one of the main reasons. That's why they're the number 1 offensive line in the league right now.